Architects, pull up your Eames chair, put on those black spectacles, and pour yourself a piping hot cup of strong black coffee because we're about to delve into unfiltered conversations with architects from all over the world discussing all things health and wellness. So if you're an architect that's been searching for more balance, more fulfillment, and more overall health and happiness, turn up your hearing aids just a notch because we've got the answers. I'm your host, Morgan Chihuaga, a licensed architect, stress management consultant, and founder of The Healthy Architect. Grab your trace paper and let's dive in. Before we dive into this episode, I want to take a quick minute to tell you about the Wellness Hub for Architects. The Wellness Hub is a virtual platform of health, wellness, and stress management micro classes designed and curated specifically for architects by architects. The best part? All of the classes are 15 minutes or less and are designed to be completed during your workday. That's right, you get paid to take these classes. Are you an architect preparing to walk into an OAC meeting and you're feeling the stress and anxiety build up because the contractor might throw you under the bus again? Well, complete a 5-minute class for architects to help that stress drip off of you so you can walk into that OAC meeting calm and confident. Are you an architect sitting behind your screen all day designing in Revit and your shoulders are inching closer and closer to your ears with built up tension? We've got the answer. Complete a 10-minute desk yoga class for architects to allow your shoulders just to drop an eighth of an inch. You're going to feel so much better afterwards, I promise. This is just a small glance into the Wellness Hub for architects. The Wellness Hub is for you if you're an architect who wants to be healthier, happier, calmer with less stress, and more creativity. Join other architects from all around the world in the Wellness Hub for architects for only $39 a month. And because I appreciate my podcast listeners so very much, I'm offering 25% off the first 25 architects that use coupon code The Healthy Architect Podcast, all capitalized. I'll see you, healthy architects, in the Wellness Hub. Now let's get back to the episode you've all been waiting for. Architects, I am fired up today. I'm excited. No, I'm not excited. I'm ecstatic. Why? Because I'm seeing the changes in our industry. I'm not only seeing these changes, I'm experiencing these changes firsthand. I'm experiencing architects and architecture firms learning, absorbing, growing, and changing in a healthy direction. They are hungry for change. They are hungry for health. Maybe it's because they hit rock bottom and there's nowhere else to go but up. Maybe they are tired of the old ways of the architecture industry and are ready to make a change. Maybe because they see the possibility of what the future of our industry could look like. I'm not sure the cause of it, but I'm seeing it and I am experiencing it firsthand. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the healthy changes that I'm seeing and I'm experiencing firsthand. But before we dive into that topic, I want to talk about what we as architects want and how to get what we want through change. You see, I hear architects discuss our stressful and our unfair industry day in and day out. For years, I've experienced this. They talk about how clients don't see our value. They talk about how contractors bulldoze over us and then throw us under the bus and then put their bulldozers in reverse and do it all over again. They talk about us not getting paid enough or how they have too much on their plates and not enough quote unquote butts in seats. Trust me, I used to talk about these exact same things over and over again. And I used to call this complaining, but I no longer think of this as architects complaining. I truly believe it's a cry for help. I don't think most architects actually know how to change, or they wouldn't remain in this unhealthy state that they're in, right? If you knew how to manage your stress, you wouldn't be stressed all the time because you'd change it. If you knew how to request a raise, you wouldn't settle for less than your value. If you knew how to be a healthy architect, you wouldn't continue in this never ending cycle of working 24/7, chugging coffee 24/7, and saying yes to every project that's dropped on your desk. Trust me, I get it. You want to know how I get it? Because once I stayed at the office because my boss at the time wanted to conduct my annual review at 10 p.m. at night. 10 p.m. at night. And I smiled, said yes, and shook my head gladly. That is a true story and a very sad story for another podcast. Architects, if you get anything out of this podcast, I want you to know that if you are miserable where you're standing today, if you are unhappy with where you're standing today, it doesn't have to be that way forever. If you are tired, if you are uninspired, if you are hating your profession, if you're questioning your career choice, if you're angry, if you're on the never ending hamster wheel of deadline after deadline after deadline after deadline after deadline, this doesn't have to be a permanent spot. This can merely be a chapter in your life. This can be a blip on your career timeline. This can be a lesson learned. And you know, the beautiful thing about chapters is you decide when you flip the page. You decide when it's time to move on to the next chapter. You decide when it's time to create the change in your life because you hold the power. You can change your future, but you have to be willing to create. We are architects, right? We are designers. We are artists. We are creators. We are world changers. Literally, through our architecture, we change the world. Every line we draw in Revit, every detail we sketch on the back of a napkin, every master plan we envision, we are changing the world. And although we are changing the world every single day through the architecture that we create, we have somehow missed that we also have the power to change our lives, our career, our future, our industry. So let me just throw out an example. I've been told by a licensed architect, quote unquote, well, the architecture firm I work for is the only architecture firm in my small town that specializes in, for the sake of this example, I'm just going to say historic preservation. I love historic preservation. Historic preservation is my passion, but I'm not fulfilled at this firm. I'm stressed and I feel stuck. End quote. My response to that is okay, change it. Change your perspective. Change where you're at. Change your chapter. If there's another architecture firm that you'd like to work for because you like their culture, you like their mission, you like their vision, you resonate with their style, you appreciate their size, approach them. Instead of saying, I'm stuck, there's nowhere for me to go, I live in this small town, no other firm has a historic preservation studio, change it. Instead of focusing on the problem that this architecture firm that you actually like doesn't have a historic preservation division, turn it into a solution. Because we're architects, right? That's what we do. We turn problems into solutions. Ask this firm if they'd be interested in discussing the development of a historic preservation studio into their 5-year business plan, into their 10-year business plan. You see, sometimes what we see as stuck, other people see as opportunity. That architecture firm that you had completely written off would see you and your unique experience as business growth, as an opportunity to delve into a new market, as additional revenue. I could go on and on and on. Change. Change your perspective, change your career trajectory. Just change. If you're unhappy, get unstuck. Okay, let's go into another example. You love being an architect. You love the profession. You love your job, but you're tired. You're good at what you do. No, scratch that. You're great at what you do. And because you're so good at managing multiple projects at once, you're working 24/7. Okay, let's change that. Let's change you working 24/7. Let's set boundaries. Let's stop checking emails on your phone first thing in the morning. Let's start getting a good night's rest. And what I typically hear is, but Morgan, it's not that easy. Yeah, it actually is. You might just need some micro shifts in your habit. I know that when you're burning out and when you're stressed, these things can seem so far out of reach, but I promise you the reality of it is that it's not, and that you can get there. You don't need to completely quit your job and move to the Bahamas and live on a beach. You can actually be a happy architect in your career. You know what happens when you make these changes, these micro shifts in your habits? When you start becoming a healthier architect, you actually become a better leader, a better team manager, and you create better architecture because you're leading from a place of clarity and focus and energy and motivation and passion. Change is scary, people, but I promise you it has the ability to be great. So if you needed it, here's your permission slip. Here's your permission slip to change what no longer serves you, whether that's your relationship with your career, or whether that's your relationship with your boss, or whether that's your relationship with your health. Because what's on the other side of change is good. Oh, it's so good. It's better than you could imagine. It's healthy. And if you don't know how to change, then contact me. I'll help you get to where you want to go, one micro shift at a time. I'm going to leave you with this one question. What micro shift can you make today that will change what kind of architect you are tomorrow? What micro shift can you make today that will change the kind of architect you are tomorrow? Okay, that's it for today, architects. I'll let you get back to those super interesting door jam details that you've got on your to do list. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, and keep creating impactful architecture. Architects, this podcast is the culmination of the most creative minds in the world. The planning and programming of this content is extensive, and I'm proud to be a small part of the change that's happening in our profession. If you want to be a part of this change, the very best thank you can give the Healthy Architect is giving us a 5-star review and sharing this episode with a colleague. When you give us a 5-star review and you share this podcast, you are playing a role in changing our industry, one architect at a time. Be happy, be healthy, and take action towards a more fulfilling career. See you next week on the Healthy Architect Podcast.